The mining station on Kepler 442b had seen better days. Its corridors echoed with the footsteps of only a skeleton crew, most of the original workers having abandoned their posts when the ore veins ran dry. Captain Marcus Webb walked through the dimly lit passages, checking the automated systems that kept the station barely operational. He found her in Section C, huddled against the cold metal wall near the broken environmental controls. The woman was unlike anyone he had ever seen, with pointed ears that marked her as one of the Elvani, the ancient spacefaring race that had once ruled this sector of the galaxy. Her silver hair caught the emergency lighting, and her violet eyes held a depth of sorrow that made Marcus pause in his rounds. "You're trespassing," he said gently, though his tone carried no real threat. She looked up at him with those haunting eyes. "I have nowhere else to go." Her voice carried the musical quality typical of her people, but underneath it was something broken. Marcus had heard the stories from other stations. The Elvani Empire had collapsed 3 months ago, their homeworlds conquered by the aggressive reptilian hegemony. Refugees had scattered across known space, but few worlds welcomed them. "What's your name?" Marcus asked, settling down beside her on the cold floor. "Liana," she replied. "I was a navigator on the diplomatic vessel Starweaver. We were returning from peace talks when the attack came." Marcus nodded. He had seen the wreckage drifting past the station 2 weeks ago, twisted metal that had once been a proud Elvani ship. "You're the only survivor?" "The only one who made it to an escape pod in time." Her hands trembled slightly. "I drifted for 17 days before your station's gravity well caught me." The human captain studied her face, noting the exhaustion and despair etched there. The Elvani were known for their pride and their long lifespans, but this one looked defeated in a way that went beyond mere physical fatigue. "You can't stay here," Marcus said finally. "This station is being decommissioned in 6 weeks. The company is pulling out." Liana's shoulders sagged further. "Then I will find another place to die." Something in her voice made Marcus's chest tighten. He had spent 15 years in space, most of it alone, and he recognized the sound of someone who had given up hope. "You don't want to die. You want to live, but you don't know how anymore." She turned to look at him with surprise. "How would a human understand?" "Because I've been there." Marcus stood and extended his hand to her. "Come on. You need food. And a proper bed." Liana hesitated before taking his hand. Her skin was warm despite the cold corridor, and Marcus felt a strange electric sensation at the contact. He led her to his quarters, the largest space on the station by virtue of his rank. Over the following days, Liana slowly opened up about her past. She had been born into nobility on Elvendor Prime, trained from childhood in the arts of navigation and diplomacy. Her people valued knowledge and beauty above all else, and she had excelled at both. But now her world was ash, her culture scattered to the winds. Marcus shared his own story. He was the son of farmers from Earth's agricultural colonies, but he had always been drawn to the stars. His parents had died in a transport accident when he was 25, leaving him alone in the universe. He had found purpose in his work, but never connection. "Your people are remarkable," Liana said one evening as they shared dinner in the station's small galley. "The other races underestimated humanity for so long." Marcus laughed. "We're stubborn, I'll give you that. When the Galactic Council told us we were too primitive to join, we just built our own ships and showed up anyway." "It is more than stubbornness," Liana insisted. "Humans have something my people lost long ago. You have hope even in the darkest circumstances." "Maybe that's because we haven't been around long enough to lose it yet." Liana smiled for the first time since he had found her. It transformed her face completely, and Marcus felt his heart skip a beat. As the weeks passed, Marcus found himself looking forward to their conversations. Liana helped him with repairs around the station, her technical knowledge far exceeding his own. In return, he taught her human customs and shared stories of Earth. "What will you do when the station closes?" Liana asked one day as they worked to repair a damaged air recycler. Marcus had been dreading this question. "I have an offer to captain a freight hauler. Nothing glamorous, but it pays well." "And what about me?" The question hung in the air between them. Marcus had been wondering the same thing for weeks. Most human colonies had strict immigration policies, and Elvani refugees were particularly unwelcome due to political tensions. "I've been thinking about that," Marcus said carefully. "There might be a way." Leanna set down her tools and turned to face him. "What way?" "Human spouses are granted automatic citizenship in all Terran territories. The marriage would need to be legitimate, recognized by law." The color drained from Leanna's face. "You would do that? Marry someone you barely know to save her life?" "I know enough," Marcus said quietly. "I know you're intelligent, brave, and kind. I know you make me laugh and challenge me to think differently. I know that these past weeks have been the happiest I've had in years." Tears gathered in Leanna's violet eyes. "But it would not be real. It would be a marriage of convenience." Marcus stepped closer to her. "It doesn't have to stay that way." The silence stretched between them for long moments. Finally, Leanna spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "Marcus Webb of Earth, I am asking you to be my husband, not just to save my life, but because I have come to care for you in ways I never thought possible after losing everything." Marcus felt his own eyes grow moist. "Leanna of Elvendor, I accept, and I promise you that you will never be abandoned or alone again." They were married by the station's AI using the emergency protocols for deep space unions. As they exchanged vows in the small observation deck, the stars of the Kepler system bore witness to an unlikely love that had grown from the ashes of tragedy. When the rescue ship arrived 3 days later to evacuate the station, it carried not one passenger but two. Marcus and Leanna Webb began their new life together among the stars, proving that sometimes the greatest adventures begin when you least expect them. Their marriage became legend in the outer colonies, a story told to remind people that hope and love could flourish even in the darkest reaches of space.